Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be Jungkook? Seriously, surrounded by millions of eyes that follow his every move. Adored, applauded, even sacred. But behind all that fame, grand stages, screaming fans, and camera flashes, have you ever wondered if Jungkook might have lost himself? Not losing his career, but losing Jungkook, the ordinary young boy from Busan who once just wanted to sing. Now, he's become a symbol, an icon, a living legend. But does he still feel like himself? Okay, we're going to look into this. Are you ready? Jungkook, a name that even you mention carries weight. Golden Magne, center of BTS, frontman of global magazines, international brand ambassador, and arguably one of the most influential figures of his generation. But with each passing day, there's one question that slowly rises to the surface and gets asked more and more often. Is Jungkook still himself, or has he disappeared into the shadows created by fame? You look at it from the outside, everything is like a dream. But from a psychological and theoretical perspective, this phenomenon is not uncommon in the celebrity world. In fact, there is a term in social psychology that fits this perfectly: loss of self in role engulfment. What is that? It's a condition where a person is so immersed in their role that they forget who they really are. That role could be a profession, it could be a public persona, it could be the expectations of others. In Jungkook's case, he's not just a singer. He's an idol, role model, a symbol of perfection. Pressure like this is no joke. We all know that Jungkook has been honed to perform since he was a kid. He debuted at 15 years old. Bro, 15. When you were probably still busy watching anime, he already had to practice his voice, dance, perform, and maintain his image, with no room for error. Think about it. Your teenage years are spent not being yourself, but being the version the world wants you to be. And it's not about being mentally weak. It's not about being ungrateful. It's about humanity. There are limits. There are fatigue points. Even Jungkook is human. As strong as he is, there is still an empty space that sometimes can only be filled with silence, away from the spotlight. In the last few years, we've started to see the real side of Jungkook that wants to run away from the image that the media and public have created. You can see it in his hairstyle, his increasingly free fashion, his darker and more introspective lyrics, and his decision to be less active on social media. He once said himself that sometimes he gets tired of being Jungkook BTS. He wants to be John Jungkook, the Busan kid who likes to sing and play games. And at this point, another theory begins to emerge that is quite relevant: actual self versus ideal self theory, Higgins, 1987. According to this theory, everyone has three versions of self: actual self, who we are right now; ideal self, who we want to be; normative self, who others expect us to be. The problem is, if there's too much distance between the actual self and the ideal/normative self, psychological distress arises. Feelings of dissatisfaction, depression, and loss of meaning in life. And this seems to be what Jungkook is experiencing. He's in the middle of two worlds, one that he dreams of and the other that others have created for him. That's why you can see he's been more introverted lately, more selective. Not because she's arrogant, but because maybe she's searching for who she really is outside of everything that the world has put on her. And now, I want to talk directly to you, Army. You know what? Sometimes, without realizing it, our love can turn into a burden for our idols. We demand them to be perfect. We get disappointed when they make mistakes. We protest when they take a break. We feel like we have a right to their lives. In fact, they're human too. They need space. They need time to find themselves again. Jungkook included. If you really love Jungkook, it's not time for you to keep asking. But it's time for you to become a mature support system. One that understands that true love is not about binding, but letting go. Letting him be himself. Letting her breathe. Letting her disappear, if that's what she needs to come back as the best version of herself. We don't know exactly what Jungkook is feeling right now. But from the way he's staying away, from his more honest music, and from his expressions that sometimes can't lie to his heart, I am sure he needs some space. And our job not to pull him back to the stage, but to keep that space there when he's ready to come back. And here's the thing, if we take it further, Jungkook's journey is not just about him as an individual, but also about how the world treats people who are too perfect to fail. In the eyes of the public, he is the gold standard. And in a world hungry for role models, he's made into a symbol. In fact, symbols never ask to be worshipped. Symbols are formed from expectations, not from personal choices. I guess that's what makes Jungkook feel like he has no safe space. When his every smile is interpreted, his every action is debated, and his every silence is read as a signal. How can you be yourself if everything you do is always required to have meaning? That's why it's natural that he chose to disappear for a while. Not to run away, but to breathe. Do you remember when he wrote his solo songs? Still With You, My You, 7, and finally Standing Next to You. They weren't just pop songs to be played a million times on Spotify. They were messages. They're pieces of her soul that she throws out into the world, hoping that someone will understand. And if you listen carefully, the lyrics get more personal, more somber, more quiet. It's as if she no longer wants to be the center of attention but wants to be understood as a human being, not an idol. And we, as ARMYs, should be able to capture that. We're not just concert goers. We're part of his journey. We grew up together, and now, when she's searching for who she really is, we have to learn to be wise supporters, not possessive fans. Because you know what? Uncontrolled love can become pressure. It can turn into suffocating expectations. And that's what we've probably been doing to Jungkook unknowingly. We want him to always be strong, always be there, always be present for us, when he also wants to feel the same things from us. Understanding, sincerity, and support, even when he has nothing to give us. That's why it's so important for us to learn to accept these silent phases. It's not the end. It's not closure. It's a transition. And sometimes, it's at the point of transition that a person can truly develop into the best version of themselves. So for those of you who are feeling lost, who feel like Jungkook is getting farther away, colder, or more unreachable, calm down. He's not leaving. He's just looking for his own light. And when he returns, he'll appear not as a symbol, not as a public puppet, but as a whole person. As John Jungkook, who is truly free. And if you really love, you'll stay here. Not to demand anything, but to say, we understand, Kook. We're here. When you're ready, we're ready to accept you for who you are. That's complete love. Love that doesn't need the spotlight to stay on.